All right, welcome to episode 9 of the Children in the Basement, live from the apocalypse. Today, we're going to be talking about presidential debates, how this last one went, how old ones from a long time ago went, and what are some characteristics you actually think a good president should have. Without further ado, I'm your host, Karson, with my co-hosts, Ben, Manny, and Taurus. Say what's up.
What's up?
Hey,
What's up?
And without further ado, let's get right into it. So, Ben, first, I'm going to go to you out the bat, and I'm gonna set you up real quick. So, as we all know, there was a debate a couple days ago, and there's a lot of mixed views on it. You either loved it, hated it, or kind of thought it was funny. I would guess. I feel like a lot of people thought it was entertainment. What are your thoughts on the debate? Did it help anybody? Did someone win? Would you like to see another debate like this? Take it
Uh,
away.
I don't think anybody won.
Mm,
I also don't think it really helped anybody. I mean, I guess it could in very specific terms, but it was really childish, is what I would say. Just because it was just back and forth arguing and interrupting, and it's really hard to like make sense what they're talking about because every time they would speak, they would just be talking about the subject, and then they would drift off topic, and then they would interrupt each other, and it was
mm,
like the whole time. If you watch it the whole time, the moderator is talking to he's like, "Mr. President, like, please give Joe his time to speak," and then Joe would interrupt Trump, and it was pretty messy.
Do you think that it helped like the American people or like pick a pick a candidate if they were already undecided?
I No, I don't think so because I'm actually undecided. I haven't because I'm registered to vote, and I'm still undecided on if I'm even going to vote for a president, just because seeing the debate made me think like I don't really like either one of these guys.
Ben.
I mean, I think they both got like good characteristics about them, but they also don't have good ones.
I know exactly what you mean. We will get into this after, Ben.
All right.
That we're gonna end the show with a little voting workshop for you, Ben. But to move on, Taurus, we'll go to you next. What do you think of the debate?
from the highlights that I saw, because I was actually at work when it was going on live, and from what everyone was telling me, I heard that it was very back and forth, and I saw that it was very back and forth. It was just really a lot of like disses. They were just like jabbing at each other for like a long time. So yeah, I agree with Ben on a lot of what he said. I feel like it was very childish, um, and I don't think anyone really won. I feel like the people that are more favored and geared toward like Trump and more favored and geared towards Biden would say, "Oh yeah, Trump won, of course," or like, "Oh yeah, Biden won, of course." But it's like there would need to be a more civil like debate because that was kind of just like an argument. That wasn't
Yeah.
very productive at all.
So you
Um,
wouldn't want to see another debate like in the same setting.
what do you mean? I mean, like the setting was fine. I was just like be more cooperative with each other.
That's what I mean, like an argument setting instead of like a civil debate. You wouldn't like to see another debate like this.
No, I would like a civil debate. Like, just it's here to publicly announce all your viewpoints and see, like, show people in person why you're the better candidate.
Mm-hmm. All right. Manny, won this one off with you. What do you think?
In my opinion, like I agree with Ben and Taurus. Like, there's a lot of like controversy and everything. Like, they're just talking and everything, interrupting each other. But in my opinion, I believe that there should be the moderator should be like more like try to be more like strict or whatever. Like, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Cut
Like,
the mics.
yeah, like just try to be more strict or whatever. But yeah.
Did you think that any of American voters learned anything if they were already undecided?
Um, I don't believe so because like I don't think like you could like for me like I couldn't like focus on like oh if this person's good or not because like they're both interrupting each other and everything. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what I personally thought from the debate is I chose like I chose consciously not to watch it. It seemed like a waste of my time. And but my dad was watching. I was doing dishes, and it turned out it was a waste of my time. The things that they were talking about were like useless, and then they would start talking about something that was like semi-important, and then it would just come completely off topic to like Joe Biden's kids.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like, do I think it's extremely funny? Yes, I do, but it doesn't help anybody. And do I think that Joe Biden's kids need to be talked about? Yes, I do, because there's a lot of things going along with Ukraine, but still, they just didn't touch on a lot. And on the part that like people don't like, there was like a more argumentative than civil debate. I actually think that debates, like presidential debates, need to be argumentative, need to be more argumentative. Because if you see all this stuff, CNN hosts them, NBC hosts them, these these um these TV providers, not TV providers, these stations show bias during debate stages, like during the primaries. They will give some people more time, and they will not touch on topics specifically because of other candidates. And so I do think that in a presidential debate where if you genuinely feel like what you're saying is life or death, very important, the moderator should have a littler role, but not in the role they took here. I think that the moderator kept the same role, but they bulldozed over him, which was not very pleasant to hear because it's not even like the moderator conceded, and you got 3 more minutes of Trump talking about Trump care or whatever he's doing. You just got the moderator saying, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, for the next 30 seconds while both candidates talk at the same time. So it's 3 people talking at one time, yelling at each other, which I thought was a little much. But I would like it to go more towards an argument style debate than the civil debate like they have now. I don't think it helped anybody's campaign. I mean, take that back. If you were already a Trump supporter, you might like him a little more. If you're already a Biden supporter, you might like him a little bit more. But if you didn't like anybody to begin with, I don't think that helped you at all. But one thing that I actually want to get on to has been bothering me for a while, and I especially saw it in the last primary debate between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. We all know Bernie Sanders' campaign was dying. I would get into that, but I spent hours actually on the radio talking about this. His campaign was dying. This debate was like his chance to shine. Like if he won this debate, boom, you never know. He might have been able to pull out a win. But during this debate, I was watching it as like an avid Bernie Sanders fan, not able to vote, but try to spread what I thought is good ideas. And I'm watching this, and I noticed that Joe Biden would say things like he's already like losing his mind, like that's pretty objectively seen. But he would say things that were like blatant lies. Like you can go on YouTube and find a video of him saying these other things. And so I was thinking to myself, have presidents always like outright lied like this? I thought they would do it in like some type of sneaky way. But for example, what I'm talking about is Joe Biden said that he never, never, ever wanted to cut Social Security. You can go on YouTube, type in Joe Biden cut Social Security, and there'll be a video of him on the Senate floor talking about it. He was like, we need to cut all federal spending. I meant Social Security too. I meant healthcare. And it was just like, he's digging his own grave. But he was able to blatantly lie, save public opinion, and nobody went and fact checked him on the after show. And that's how you know there's like bias on it. So that's why I also think like if you're on these stations, like if you're Trump or Biden, and you could tell there's an inherent bias, it might be best for your campaign to actually push through the moderator, but I don't think in this fashion. So I'm gonna kind of pull it to the next thing. How do you think this debate measured up towards debates in the past, like JFK versus Nixon? I think was the first televised debate. And we talk about that a lot in history. Manny, what do you think?
Honestly, that like you're saying, like in history, like JFK and Nixon, like there was like that was a good debate. Like I watched it in history, and that was like honestly a good debate. Like they're saying their point of views, they're like very respectful, and then they let the other campaigner like say his thing. Like it was very respectful, but like nowadays it's crazy. Like they're like not respectful at all and everything. They're interrupting each other and all that.
Mm-hmm. Taurus, what about you?
I honestly, personally, haven't watched any debates because I've never really been big in politics. Um,
Yeah, I didn't. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I didn't watch the Hillary and Trump debates back then either, because again, it's the same thing as now. But we'll we'll say that for later too. Ben, what do you think?
Compared to like the Hillary and Trump debate in 2016, it was very similar. Like they were just kind of going back and forth, trying to get personal and hurt each other
Mm-hmm.
and make fun of each other in front of the nation. But like way back in the day, um, it was just like how Manny said. It was like everyone they respected each other and there wasn't an interruptions. They just stated their policies and their opinions and stuff, so the American people watching could actually like take into consideration who they want to vote for based off the debate. But nowadays, it's kind of like transformed into this just like roast.
Mm-hmm. You know, I agree, but I also feel like the way like you're taught, well, not taught, but like compared, we've been compared like these two debates specifically from JFK to Trump is kind of misleading because it's not like we didn't have presidents like Trump before. Andrew Jackson was today's Trump. He's the reason why Democrats have the symbol of a donkey. So it's not like this is some new thing. Like, oh wow, this never happened before. This has happened.
Yeah, it just depends on the candidate and like
But
are they like too stubborn to back down and let the other person talk and stuff.
uh,
No.
but also like there's a lot of people who um, talk badly about the debate or like criticize this debate, but they're so far away from one of the candidates politically, socially, just in general, that I feel like if they were in the same position, they would talk just as badly because there's nothing. You said that they respected each other in the JFK versus Nixon debate. These two people do not respect each other. There's a lot of people that don't respect them in general. There's a lot of people who don't respect Joe Biden. There's a ton of people who avidly hate Donald Trump. So I think you're in a different position because you're not in a neutral public opinion, I guess, um, morality wise. There's a lot of people who think Donald Trump is bad people, and there's a lot of people who think Joe Biden's bad people. So I
Yeah.
think it's a lot harder to have civil debates when candidates' personalities are so publicly charged, either positive or negative. And in this case, both pretty negative. Um, and that gets us into like our next topic. What do you guys actually want any of these two people to be president? Like in just your opinion. We're not indoctrinating anybody. Like, do you guys want Donald Trump or Joe Biden to be president? Ben, I heard your view, so we're gonna go with Manny first.
All right, so my opinion about who should be president. Honestly, I believe that Joe Biden should not be president just because that like he wants to shut down the country and everything and all that stuff. And then Donald Trump like wants to get like a cure for the virus and everything in like a few weeks. That's what he said in the debate a few days ago. And like that's what the people want to hear. Like since we're in this pandemic now, like we want a virus, like we want stuff to get back to normal. So like in my opinion, I'll say Donald Trump.
You said Donald Trump. Okay, we'll come back and talk about the why after we get Torres's view first. What do you think, Torres?
I think I want Donald Trump to be president
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't really know. I don't like Biden. Um, and I feel like Donald Trump would be a better choice.
Do you have any specific policy reasons, or is it just kind of in the whole thing?
Calls the reason why I don't like Biden or why I think that Donald Trump should be president.
Either or.
Well, I mean, like his presidency since 2016 hasn't been nearly as bad as everyone says it is. I mean, like things are going. He's creating new businesses. Unemployment for Black African Americans are at like an all-time low. The economy is really good, other than the fact of that COVID happened and that wasn't his fault. So he's doing pretty good.
Okay. Ben, do you want to add in like your views or your pros and cons list before we break down the reasons?
I guess I could just add on to that a little bit. Like I said, I'm undecided just because they both have good and bad things about both of the candidates. There's some things that I like. Like I don't want the country to be closed down, so that's kind of leading me towards Trump. But I don't like some of the people that Trump wants to put in office, so that kind of leads me back to Biden. So I might go for Kanye.
Kanye.
Yeah, if I see his name on the ballot, I'm definitely gonna pick it.
Okay.
That's just a joke. But yeah, I still am undecided.
Okay. So the problem that I see in America, along with this conversation, and again, this is in my personal opinion, reflects nothing about who provides us this YouTube time, but in my personal opinion, problem I see with America and the problem that I see with this is that I only gave you two options. I specifically only gave you two options. Even though there's multiple parties running, you guys only see two options and are only pretty much given two options publicly. There is a third party, and it's a semi big third party. I give you that. It's not a lot of people vote for it, but there's a third party. And with this mentality where you have to vote blue or red, there's nothing else. It's Trump or Biden when that's simply not true. There is a third candidate who has some traction, who has a following, and no one talks about him. So the problem I see is that we've gotten into this whirlpool where as soon as you enter, you're sucked in to either side. You're either sucked in, I'm always going to be blue or I'm always going to be red. There's not a lot of people since Obama, because I'm pretty sure a lot more Republicans voted for Obama than Hillary. Um, there isn't really any switching sides. And I feel like that's creates a rift, I would say, between the two halves of America. Sadly, two halves, not two quarters. There's not more parties, which there should be. But the problem is there needs to be more parties. You cannot run a good political system. It cannot be a good system if you're choosing between two things. You have no options. You're stuck. And that's where we are right now. Everybody says this is not like some new idea. You pick the lesser of two evils. Lesser of two evils. You can't pick a good candidate. There hasn't been a good candidate in I don't know how long. You're picking the lesser of two evils. And that is really sad. And that's very, very, very discouraging for undecided voters, like Ben specifically. Because it's exactly what Ben's talking about. Well, they're both not very good, but they do have some bright spots, which I actually completely disagree with. I don't see a bright spot in either of them. But, you know, teacher though to each their own. But Manny, can you go back and refresh me on why you said Trump? Like the reasons why?
All right, so for Trump, like he wants to make a what's called like he wants to like clean out this virus. Like he wants to get a cure for this virus already. Like he said, like in a debate a few days ago, he wants to like that he's gonna make like he's gonna make a cure or try to get the cure and like reopen the country, try to get a cure for the virus and everything. And like everyone, I think that like every citizen of the United States like wants to hear that and everything. So that's why I'm thinking that most people would vote for Trump, maybe for that. and that's why I would vote, but I can't vote yet. But I would vote for Trump specifically for that. Also, like Donald Trump says, what's it called, for COVID-19? He says, oh, he saves thousands of lives and everything, and yeah, like what's it called, most like Donald Trump wants to like save lives and everything, and that's what I agree with.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Does anybody else, um, Ben, do you want to push back or should I start talking?
No, go ahead.
All right. So what I think about that is you said that everybody wants to hear that, and you said specifically there'll be a cure in a matter of weeks.
Yeah, that's what Donald Trump said.
If a cure comes in a matter of weeks, do you trust that cure? Because there's still a ton of people who believe that vaccinations are dangerous, which some are. Flu vaccinations don't actually work. Like there's a very low percent chance of them working, and some people actually have reactions to some of these vaccines. But specifically the COVID vaccine, who's seen it? There has been no time to test it accurately for humans. Would you trust the president in taking the vaccine?
Oh, that's a hard one, honestly. I don't know if I would trust the vaccine, but I know that I don't know how I could say it, but like everyone wants a cure for this virus, and like that's what Trump's trying to do. But I don't know if I would like trust the cure. But yeah,
Because Trump's given out cures before, like on air. He said, "I don't remember. I really don't remember the chemical, but it was pretty much bleach. It was pretty much bleach. People were injecting bleach into their arms because the president said so, dying, hospital care. He just said inject bleach into yourself, and people did this and died, went into critical care. And it was even touched on in the debate. He was like, "Didn't you tell people to inject bleach?" And he was like, "Come on, Joe. We both knew that was sarcasm. Who says that during a pandemic?" I specifically did not listen to him because I don't listen to Trump at all. But for the people who are avid Trump supporters, I think that they were looking for a way out, and instead they got bleach in their arm. And that's exactly what I think the COVID vaccine will be. I do not think there is enough time to properly test it. And I do not think that there should be one in general circulation for a while. I think that if the statistics are right, because again, I look all the time, all over, if the statistics are right, masks work. If you wear your mask, you're gonna be fine. That's how it is. Have you heard of someone who said, "I got COVID, I don't know how, I wear my mask all the time when I'm out in public"? No, you actually haven't. So that's the problem. And then you add the 6 feet, which is supposedly how far COVID dies in the air. That's double protection. You're gonna be fine. All it takes is some like population discipline, and this thing can go away. That's what I think. So what you said about the COVID vaccine, I don't even think a majority of people want the COVID vaccine out so soon. But again, I digress. And we'll go to the saving lives part. No, that is not Donald Trump. That's PR. If he cared about saving lives, because the videos come out now about how dangerous the coronavirus was when it started happening, and he was talking about it in the meeting, and then he goes back and talks to his supporters, and he says, "Nope, this is no big deal. It's a hoax. COVID's a hoax." Now I think you have over 200,000 people dead in America within 6 or 7 months, if I'm not mistaken. What month is it? Yeah, 6 or 7 months. 200,000 people dead in America, and the flu kills 40,000 in the whole world over a year. So, again, it's just like the flu, lie. It's not dangerous, lie. And there's more and more and more to why I wouldn't vote Donald Trump, specifically for the reasons you said. Um, do you disagree? Do you agree? Do you want to add another point?
I mean, all right. So another, all right, I got another point here. For healthcare, for what Donald Trump was saying is that he wants to cut it. He wants to cut down drug prices and like make better healthcare and everything. Do you agree with that or no?
Do I agree with that?
Yeah.
No. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no because healthcare should be free. Healthcare should be a right in the country you live in, and I think there are candidates who ran for that in this election who got voted out in the primary, and the Green candidate is doing the same thing. So if your main concern is healthcare, vote Green, because I still do not understand how you could live in supposedly the most prosperous country and people are and diabetics specifically are still dying because they can't afford their own insulin. It's so expensive they can't even afford it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you disagree? Disagree with me. I'm not putting my foot on your neck, man. You can.
I mean, what you're trying to say, I mean, that makes sense for healthcare.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I'm not like 100% like into politics or nothing, but like that's just like the few points I have. But yeah.
Hmm. And Taurus, what do you think? Do you disagree with what I said? Do you have any other points to add?
Um, I don't quite agree with what you said, but that's mainly because I get all my information from like my family, like most people do, like most kids. They get their information from their family. I'm not deep into politics, but my mom really is.
Yeah, I know.
Most of what she believes in, with good reason. I obviously fact check everything that I hear with good reason. I would agree with too.
Hmm. Yeah, I've had conversations with your mom. I know. Ben, do you disagree? Want to add any other new points that we could bounce off of?
I want to say, when you were talking about why you wouldn't vote for Donald Trump, because, and you, like, when you were specifically talking about the lies, there's lots of lies.
One of them.
And then earlier, even earlier, you talked about Joe Biden and
Lying.
how he lied too. Why is it that there's so much lying when it
I
comes to
actually,
supposed to be the most important men in our country?
I can't tell you honestly, and I don't understand why there's not less lying, because everybody knows nowadays you put something on the internet, it's there forever, especially if you're an important person. It's not
Yeah,
like people aren't gonna go and fact check Joe Biden. Well, at least like people who are genuinely into it. Like there's a ton of people who don't fact check Joe Biden, but it's gonna come out, and it didn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt them because they're so polar opposite. You're kind of attracted to them because of their rhetoric. But I honestly couldn't tell you. I know for a fact that in the past, presidents were more sneaky with their lying. How I was explained to it when I was first getting into politics. Well, I wasn't really into it, but I remember I said I was in the car driving out Grove, and I was like, that'd be cool if Hillary Clinton was president. Parents almost stabbed me. They were like, what did you just say? I was like, yeah, it'd be cool. Hillary Clinton was the first woman president. And they were like, haven't you heard of this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this? And I was like, what? She says she wants this. No. There's actually a conspiracy, which we didn't talk about, which I really wanted to. I'm not sure we were going political with the show yet, but inside the DNC, there was this person, avid Bernie supporter, and he was specifically in one of these states that got miscounted. Like you can go back and check. There's a couple states, or I think 9, they are proven miscounted. Um, he was killed. He was killed specifically, and it was ruled a robbery, even though he had his phone and wallet on him. So there's a ton of people who think the Clinton campaign actually had something to do with that. And it's not like it's only one happenstance either. Like you ask, don't ask me because I don't remember names very well, but you ask an older Trump supporter, they'll have names for you about who they think Hillary Clinton is off. And so I honestly cannot tell you why they lie so much. It's kind of scary, honestly, because you don't know what's the truth. You can't tell who's actually right and who's actually wrong. And I want to actually touch on that. Manny, does the morality of a presidential candidate factor in to if you like them or not?
Honestly, I have no idea. To be completely honest.
It's like if he's a good person, does that score points?
All right, so like if they're all right, so what I'm thinking is like since like all right, so a candidate and their children, like I feel like a good looking children are bonus points for the candidate. Do you think so?
What?
Like I'm like being completely honest here. So like good looking children would be like bonus points for the president. Like, oh, they're so nice and everything. And then like if you like look at their family, since like pretty much everyone says, oh, family matters the most and everything, and you look at like their family and oh, it's good looking children. And then I feel like that would be bonus points for the candidate.
In your eyes, like in general, you think the
Like
people
in
just.
general.
I was about to say, man, this is getting a little weird. So,
No, this is like for general, in general.
yeah, no, that's definitely true. People definitely look for, like the cookie cutter family. Like if somebody didn't have a first lady, I feel like that would not go very well with some of the older voters. I don't know if you can go in as a first without a spouse. I think you can. I don't think it's happened. It'd be interesting though. Wait, no, Grover Cleveland. He didn't have a wife. He married somebody in the White House. Fun fact of your day. But yeah, Ben, do the morality or like the perceived morality of a candidate affect how you view them, or if you want to vote for them as much?
Yeah, because if I was actually gonna vote someone, I would have to, like their policies, and I would have to see that they've they've done things that bettered the country and bettered just the community
Hmm.
to make me believe that they're like actually like a like perfect person that I would want to be in office.
Hmm. And do you see that with any of the candidates that were on the stage?
Unfortunately, not. Because again, they lie straight to your face without care, and it's obvious lies too.
Exactly.
So that means they just don't care that much that they'll just throw anything at you.
And I'm not even sure why we have to have this debate. It's not like we just had 4 years of Trump. We know exactly what Trump wants. Trump, it's like, even if there's a new thing, you could already like use past trajectory to figure out where Trump's gonna lie. Not like lies and like tell lies, but like fall. And Biden been in politics his whole life. He was already vice president. Just imagine Barack Obama, but a little worse. That's Biden, and with dementia.
Yeah,
It's not like we're adding anything new, and that's also another problem. Like people were talking about Bernie Sanders' age. He was mentally competent. These two presidents that are up on the stage are not mentally competent. It's scary. How are you going? How is there even a push for Joe Biden? Like specifically Joe Biden. He can't even remember. Like again, Trump roasted him for this. He can't even remember the name of his college.
yeah. I remember when he called him out on during the debate of that, and
It was like, what? It's scary. It's honestly scary. Like
yeah,
if he was a normal person, he did not. He does not deserve this hate. Like I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm criticizing him to the point where I would not criticize a normal person. But you're putting yourself in the position where you have to be criticized on everything you do, and you're at the point in your life when there's more things you can't do than can do. So it's not. There's no positive view. So I
Hey,
think we're
Karson,
what?
hey, I want to add something. So, do you think there should be an age limit for the candidates or no?
No, I do not think there should be an age limit.
Why is that?
Because I'm not sure what the age limit would be for. Experience, wisdom. We had two presidents who were in their 70s, and as you both just said, it's the most childish debate you've ever seen. The age limit failed us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
there
mean,
should just be like not an age limit, but like
a test,
psychological check.
a psychological check.
Yes.
Um, you have to see who passes the psychological check. You have to put
just not to just like see if they're crazy, because like I mean
They're
people
all
call
crazy.
Trump crazy all the time, but I don't know if he actually has any like disorders, like he can't remember things like he, but like Biden, like he's always stumbling over his words and he
And
forgets
what
a lot of things too.
if you do the psychological check and you're specifically asking for disorders? I was taking it like, oh, are they like crazy? Like, are they like psycho? But you're taking like, do they have dementia? Do they have depression? Do they have other stuff like this? What disorders would be cause for them not to be elected, in your opinion?
Like you just said, dementia. Like if they can't remember things. Well,
So you
before
mean,
I get into that, I want to talk about at the debate there was like these pictures of like close up on Biden's clothing.
uh-huh.
I don't know if you saw it, but it was this wire that was like sticking out of his shirt, and then when he raised his hand, a wire was sticking out of his sleeve on his wrist, on the inside of his wrist. And people took those pictures and they set them aside next to this thing that you can buy online, where it's like basically all these wires that run over your body, and then it's like this, and it's basically like a Bluetooth speaker that you can put inside your ear.
And so yeah, so people are feeding him information. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it was like,
He didn't
and
help in your campaign. There's probably a lot more people getting help from your campaign from their campaign than you would think, though.
yeah, I mean Trump could have been doing the same thing. He could have just
I
been
think a little better, but
sleek about it. But that kind of just points in the direction that like maybe Joe isn't qualified because
he doesn't
he
have his
has,
own ideas.
yeah,
He can't lead his own conversation.
yeah.
Yep,
If he can't,
definitely valid.
if somebody asks him questions and he can't, and he has to rely on a script wrote by his advisors, like that can worry. That can really worry a lot of people because he needs to be able to think for himself if he's going to be the most important man in the country.
Exactly. So before we get cut off, I'll leave us on a closing statement, and then we're gonna head out. Closing statement is vote green. That's that's it. Do not. We need a third party. We need upwards of 5, but there's a third right now. We need to get them relevant, and then we go 4, and then we go 5. So vote green. That's my statement.
Agree with that.
Without taking any more time, we're gonna head out. My name is Karson. I got Ben, Manny, and Taurus. This was Children in the Basement, episode 9. Adios, and then we're out.
Peace.
Peace
Bye.
out.